One.
What's up, everybody? We're back. We're back. We're back. Pretty smart. We've got Dr. Camille. We've got Sydney, and we have Keone.
Yeah, because I'm not
He's
pretty.
here.
Because I'm not, I'm just here. I'm filling a hole. Wait,
He's
never mind. That's
filling a hole.
inappropriate. I'm on a show with women. That is not what I meant. I'm already ruining the show already.
Hey, we're gonna bypass that one and ask the question: Black Hollywood. What the heck? Like, what is going on? Why? Just like, why? What
There,
is happening? Like,
you,
we have
you,
our sisters and brothers going
Mhm.
against each other. They're supposed to be uplifting each other. Like, what's your take?
Okay, well, you know what? First of all, we're supposed to be uplifting and helping each other. Great. Yes, we always sing that song. But what's that saying? Everybody that's your kind ain't your kind. Okay.
True.
And I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic, or what you are. Just because you are in that race doesn't mean you're an ally of that race, as dumb as it sounds.
Nope, it doesn't.
And people are gonna people, no matter what we're saying. Now we're talking about Black Hollywood because we're black, and those are the people that represent us in that space. But people are always going to people.
That's
And
true.
like Bernie Mac used to say, once you're morally bankrupt, what's the point?
Yeah. And I kind of want to say like the ones that are getting tossed around, like, are they near that point um of being morally bankrupt? Like, have it has their time just run out and they just haven't realized it yet?
Well, you know what's funny? Dr. Camille does this whole thing on the imposter phenomenon. I'm not going to sit here
Ooh.
and pretend like I've read her research, but when I hear the word imposter phenomenon, to me, even not knowing what hers is based on, you have imposters. There's a saying that always said, and I'd like Dr. Camille to kind of expand upon it, of don't meet your heroes. And the reason why they used to say that back in the day, because you'd meet your heroes and realize your hero ain't who they are. But now in today's society, we get to find out so much about the people that you
Yeah.
idolize. And then when you find out, and then you have the sect of people that don't want to believe it and still back them. And
Yep.
then you have the people that go, oh my God, I didn't know this person was this treacherous, this backstabby, this bad. And, don't meet your heroes. But we have no choice these days.
Yeah. Um,
Absolutely.
Dr. Camille, did you want to add to that?
You know what? I'm a little shocked about what's going on social media and how everyone is really just spilling the tea. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it took Cat Williams, it took that Virgo energy, it took
Thank you, Kat.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
someone who is a disruptor to really call things that are really out of whack back into focus.
Yeah.
And maybe most people didn't like the methodology. Most people who he called on the carpet, they definitely didn't. It didn't make them feel comfortable because sometimes the truth really does hurt. Um, but in terms of like being an imposter, you know, mm, I would say it's more so a case of us having a big family. We just may not like all our family members, but we still love them from afar, but we just may not like
Oh,
them.
I
You know
don't
what
know
I'm
about
saying?
that
Like,
Gotta
now.
learn how, yeah, learning how to treat
Yeah.
people. Okay. I know where to place you now. Yeah, I get what you're
I'm like, we
saying.
gotta learn to just let people go and let them
Hmm.
be who they are and just and love them from a distance.
Well,
Hmm.
and the
Well
part of
said.
loving who you are. So but you say it took that energy, but the thing is, it was hard for him to survive because every time someone, not only in Black Hollywood
Is
especially,
it? Yeah.
try to tell you what's going on, like Dave Chappelle said to Oprah, what do they always say? You're crazy. And then they always try to label you and put things on you
Oh,
and say you're a drug addict or all those things.
yeah.
I know these people are Caucasian, but Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, Corey, the
Right.
other Corey used to always say what they were doing to him.
Mhm.
And once that was get out, what do they say? He's hard to work with. I
Yep,
was reading things
Blackballed.
yesterday on
Yep.
what they did to Shirley Temple at 3 years old, you know,
Right.
What?
and what they did to the lady that played Dorothy. Oh my God.
Mm. Dorothy Dandridge?
No, Judy Garland. Is it Judy?
Yeah.
But what they did, what,
Mhm.
and what people will allow to happen in
Right.
that space. The
Mhm.
protectors, like Monique said, where are the protectors? You're supposed to protect us, and yet you're letting these things happen to us.
Mhm.
Well, do you think that, like, I know the question's been thrown around, it's not them, they're puppets, or not, I wouldn't say puppets.
Some of them are.
They're following the instructions of someone else. What's your face for? Add to that, please.
Listen, Hollywood is a dark place, and I
It
love
is
that
like,
you came out and said all this stuff, and you guys are right. Everybody, like, all this stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in Hollywood that I mean, look at all the childhood actors who end up messed up later on,
Right.
and they come out years later and say the stuff that they did to them, like you guys are saying.
Mhm.
It's
Here's
all
It's getting a little bit more
dirty
I
place.
think the temperament is getting a little bit more scarier because we do have social media, and because we have social media and it's our platform to speak out, and we have, an opportunity to tell our side of the story and it not be shunned, not be filed away in some closet somewhere, and you never hear from these people again. But I think, like, this day and age, we're really hearing and seeing the truth behind the veil. We're really seeing how people's characters and how they have impacted others in the business. And the question was asked to me because I'm new getting into modeling and acting, and this is a second career. This is like an outlet, right? And what do we say to new actors and actresses who are coming into the business? It's like,
good question.
is it a bad time to get into the
Well,
business,
I'm
or
gonna
is it a
tell you what to
great time?
say
It's a good
because
question.
I will tell you what to say because I told you. Here's what I say. I don't get into the whole Hollywood is dark and all that. Listen,
Mhm.
because people used to say that, oh my God, when they find out things happen in the military, and they're like, oh my God, or things happen in the NFL. Oh my God. Everybody in every job capacity or every space represents what is out there in society. If you have
Mhm.
pedophiles in society, you're going to have pedophiles in Hollywood. If you have
Mhm.
racists in society, you're going to have racists in Hollywood. If you have sexist, homophobia,
Mhm.
whatever, you're going to have in Hollywood. The thing it comes to is each individual person. Where do you stop with your morals? Can you
Right.
let someone dangle the carrot in front of your
Mhm.
face when you don't have anything? I always use Denzel Washington as an example. People say, well, that's Denzel. He's got the platform. No, from day one he started and he was compromised. He said, absolutely not.
Mhm.
Absolutely not. And he has stuck to that
Mhm.
because predators will always find prey. When you
Yeah.
allow yourself to be a prey, the predator will find you. There's a reason why
Mhm.
Bill Cosby never went on Felicia Rashad.
Mhm.
How would that have worked out?
Right.
Okay. So you
Right.
have to put, like Kat said, you have to say, absolutely not. I'm not
No.
doing
Yeah.
that.
Right.
And
Mhm.
then when you see the person that gets the role behind you, you're like,
Right. Right.
like,
It is.
Yep.
So one of the things Denzel got backlash for when he very first started, I love Mel Streep. She's in my top 4 favorite actresses of all time, up there with Viola Davis and
Yeah.
Angela Bassett, 2 queens. And Meryl Streep is right there with them for
Mhm.
me.
Viola's my favorite.
Um, but
Yeah.
Denzel did a movie with her way back in the day, and he refused to kiss her.
Mhm.
And the way he said it, they took it as racial in the beginning. He said, I won't kiss her. I will not kiss a white woman on TV or in a movie. And if you've noticed his entire career, has he ever done it, even if he's had
Mhm.
romantic
No.
interest? And the reason why he said is because our sisters are not represented in a romantic capacity enough. So I
Mhm.
don't do them any service if I'm not having that romantic intimacy with them. And he
And I
wasn't
love
trying to be
that.
racial about it. But he stuck to it
Yeah.
this entire time. And that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
you compromise yourself,
Mhm.
that's
It's
That's
it.
it.
over. You know what? I was thinking about that. Well, when you're coming from the hood, when you're coming from nothing, people are going into the business based on desperation, and the praise, they're using that desperation against them. And so you're right, Keone. It really is about you standing on your morals and your values, even if it means you going without that job, even if it
Right.
means you not taking that gig. It just at some point in time you find the way that works for you, and you have to, as the new slang is saying right now, you got to stand on business. You really do.
Right.
You really
That's
do.
a
It's
very
business,
good
is your morals, your ethics, the
Mhm.
class. Like, be rare, be different, bring something new to the industry, because there's so many that's willing to do whatever, to get that next role and that next
Yeah.
gig. But it's not worth it in the end.
Yeah.
right. And
And
it's a
that's
it's
what that fine line is. No, I was just say that's what that fine line is when they're willing to do whatever. It's like people are desperate for that.
and it
But
shouldn't have to come to that point. Like you should there should be something else that you can do. There's so many things out there to do that okay, you get a no. Find something else to do. And if that no if that yes has to compromise your beliefs, your morals, then technically it's a no. Because at the end of the
Right.
day, you sleep after you do that. Are you
Mhm.
going to be able to be okay with yourself? What trauma will you have, after you
Right.
get through this? That's what you have to think about.
And that's also having a good support system. If you're that struggling model in New York who's eating ramen noodles and you've been working at it for 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and sooner or later you're going to get propositioned, and you're like, well, this will help me get where I need to go. Where's that support system to say, nope, nope, nope,
Yeah.
nope, stay away from that. You can't be alone. I used to have people say, I did it all on my own, and I always tell them nobody did anything
Mhm.
alone, but
Mm-hmm.
the exploitable will always be exploited. I like, if you haven't noticed, I like sayings, right? So you tell people all the time, if you allow yourself for that to happen, and that's not victim blaming. I don't want
Mhm.
anybody to think I'm victim blaming, but until you weed out the exploiters, they're always going to find the people who can
Mm-hmm.
exploit. Harriet Tubman said it. I freed a
Mm-hmm.
thousand slaves, but I could have freed a thousand more if they knew they were slaves, right?
Mhm.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Just like it's Black History Month. I love when I bring up the subject of slavery and someone says, well, Africans sold Africans as slaves. Aren't you just as culpable? I said, you can't sell something no one's buying.
Okay. Mhm. Supply and demand. Point blank, period.
So you got to weed these people out.
Mm-hmm.
And who we look for, and here's one thing I want y'all to talk about. I'm awfully tired, and I know y'all are, of the people who use some religious form or aspect of God to get to the height of their fame,
Mm.
but they're not doing all the godly things behind the scenes. But
Yeah,
everybody will blindly follow them because they use the Lord.
that that is
Yeah.
a very good point, and I'll speak on that a little bit. I don't know if any of you know, but I am a preacher's kid. My dad is a pastor.
I can
Um,
tell because you're a freak.
Stop it.
I'm with you.
um,
So
but
bad.
back to what I was talking about. Don't worry about him. Anyway, but what I was saying was my dad's a pastor, and to see, night versus day, basically. He's a small town pastor. He's out there ministering, he's doing the things, but then when you see those people that get the fame and things of that nature, and what really have they done but slap their name on it, said, and put the other people to work, and use the money. I'm not saying that all of them are like that, but it does take a moment of pause when you see those that are doing that, and you're like, okay, how can we tell the difference? And it paints a bad picture for the ones that are doing it good. And the same thing in the industry, in Hollywood, and in any industry, the ones that are out there doing the so-called good but end up doing like shady stuff, they paint the bad picture for the ones that are really doing the work and paving the way for the ones that come up to do it, the good work. So
So
it's,
good you mentioned that, Lena. And what comes to mind right now is when um Cat Williams had did the interview, and of course those who he talked about in the interview, they were really, really upset about it, and they were starting to call, clap back. Everybody's starting to snap back and everything. But then there were others in the midst of all of this that were like, hey, Cat Williams, he knew about me being a struggling, new artist, new comedian. And after the show, he would just give me, X amount of dollars. And there were several people where he anonymously gave them money or supported someone and he didn't even know them. And it's
Right.
these types of acts of kindness that you're talking about. Like, what are you doing
Mhm.
behind closed doors? What are you doing for the collective? What are you doing to be a better human being and and share that gift in the world? Like, so
Some
Very good.
all
people
I
will
can do is
use
try to
that,
be more like that. I'm like, give
but
me the wealth. I know what to do with it. I like giving.
Okay.
some people will use that as a disguise though too. Not talking about him. Some people will give. So that's the thing you can always tell when people come out and tell the stories about somebody who gave to them years ago
Mhm.
versus
Mm-hmm.
people who you hear about it instantly because you know they're leaking it out to show that they're
Mm-hmm.
such a good person. I think the thing that when you're looking at that, some of their problems are, Hollywood problems, but some of the things that are everyday problems that we deal with, if you look at when you watch the Monique interview
Mm-hmm.
on Club Shay, where she talked about, doing the radio show with Kevin Hart and he's calling her
Right.
auntie and
Yeah.
all that and pumping her up. And then he says he'll do a project with her. And then she gets a call saying, oh, no, Kevin pulled out. And then when she calls Kevin, no, 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 I'll
Mm-hmm.
straighten it out. And then
No.
she's like, I haven't heard from him in 2 years. That's
Mm-hmm.
something we all deal with. Um,
Ghost.
those are called parking lot parking lot warriors. I forgot what they call them. It's parking lot something. It's that coworker that says when we get into work today, we're gonna bring this up to the boss in the meeting and talk
And
about
then
it.
that
Oh,
other
And
yeah.
everybody's
coworker,
on
yeah.
board. And then when you get in the meeting, everybody's quiet but
I don't
you.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
That was,
I
I
know.
wasn't there for that conversation.
Yeah.
She on her own. Mm-mm.
You know what? I like Monique. I like Monique because she's like, listen,
She
I
was
told y'all about
open.
X, Y, and Z like 10 years ago, and y'all wasn't trying to
Exactly.
hear me. So now when, Taraji come out and say what she's saying about black women and them not being paid enough, and when she
Mhm.
comes out, talking about Oprah and how Oprah is a neutral, she's not really like a staunch black American wanting to just be all about blackness. She's for everybody,
Yeah.
right? She's the all lives matter person for me.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Oprah.
at the same time, it's like right
And
now
she,
we're the
yeah,
ones that's coming under the, we're the underdogs.
Yeah.
We need all the support we can get,
yeah.
especially our billionaires.
I
So
mean,
it's
Right.
look at the people
hurtful.
Oprah hangs out with. That'll tell you.
Say it
What'd you
again.
say, Sydney?
Ooh,
Look at the people Oprah hangs out with. That'll tell you.
that's a very good point, Sydney.
I'm just
Ooh.
Oprah and me got beef. I never liked her.
Hey,
Okay.
so
I
and
didn't
she's
want to
in,
say it, but
and
now that you
she's
said it, Sydney, I was always wondering, like, she
we're
always
so
over in other countries. We got babies here.
I you know what? And here's my thing.
That's
We're
so
So
smart.
great.
Hmm.
as
Go
they
down
say, the
that
proof is
road.
in the
yeah,
pudding.
there's so many prominent people I can talk trash about. Whether you want to bring up
Right.
Oprah, whether you want to bring up Al Sharpton, no matter who you want to bring up. My
Look, we
problem
we
with
have trash. We even have trash
yeah,
about ourselves, right? No one's
but
Okay.
here's
perfect.
my problem when
We
it
have
comes to
fun.
me.
There's a
I can
level.
criticize them, but even in Oprah's pinky, she's done more for black people than I have. So it's like even though she's not doing everything that, and this is not me defending Oprah by all means, but I'm also not a billionaire. I'm also not the one in these platforms doing these deals. It's always easy, and again, I'm aware, I'm self-aware. It's easy for me to also say these things in the position that I'm in. They always
Yeah.
do the hypothetical. Would you do such and such for $1 million? And when they ask you immoral stuff, what's the easy answer? No, right?
Right.
Yeah, but let me open a briefcase with an actual $1 million in front of you and then ask you the same
Oh
question.
no.
No, I actually say the opposite, John. I think most of the time people would say yes before they would say no.
No, I'm
Like,
talking about,
It depends on the thing. Like,
yeah,
I
like
would,
people will say no. It's easy. If you ask me, John, for $10 million, yes. I haven't even told you it
I
doesn't
gotta hear the
matter.
terms and agreements
I
before I
need to
say yes. I
know
need to read the
give an
the
contract
example.
parameters.
twice. Get a lawyer to read over it before I
Yeah.
sign anything.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You know what it
but
Trash.
reminds me of
yeah.
though? This is what I think about, because remember we had a show. So audience, if you haven't had a chance to look at our other show when we talked about Black Greek letter organizations, this is a great time to do that.
Oh God.
But so I'm thinking about like when you're trying to join one of these organizations, or just take any organization for that matter, you're gonna try to be on your best behavior. You're going to try to, you know, appeal to the big sisters. And then when you get in, you realize, oh my God, this big sister is really not sisterly. This big sister, you know,
Mhm.
she's a ride or die for you. This one, she don't really like nobody anyway, but you can always call on her for a letter a recommendation. So different people are going to have like their
Right.
differences, like, because we really are a part of a family. We're still like our community and a family. We just don't like that our dirty laundry is being aired out on the
Right.
airwaves
Well, I
like
mean, we'll
this.
clean your
But
laundry
it is what
sooner.
it is.
Right.
Clean your laundry. Well, Camille, is it also though? But some people forget why they started and did a certain thing. Sometimes you get
Hmm.
to a position and a point where you forget why you started and why you were doing that.
Right.
You know, you get lost in your success or
Hmm.
your. It's like the hardest thing to give a human is power.
Right.
Mm.
Because
You know,
absolute power
Mhm.
corrupts absolutely.
yeah, you've seen some people
Yes.
in your life that were amazing people, but once
Hmm.
they have decision making ability of what happens to other people,
Yeah.
oh, I mean, I worked for a company. Let me not even go there. But
Hey, okay.
yeah, you
It
and
gets deep. It
you
does.
you feel that it's like you forgot why you were here.
Doing it
And
in the
then
first
also, I'm not victim blaming, but listen, making better decisions is a thing all of us have to do. I can't
place.
remember the comedian, but he or actor, but he said, "I never got in trouble in Hollywood because I see Denzel at all the Hollywood parties, and when he leaves, I leave
Mm.
because I know
Oh,
everything that happens after Denzel leave ain't something I need to be around."
okay. That's
See,
So
smart.
he
yeah,
said, "I watch him, and when Denzel hit that door,
it's time to
right
go.
I mean,
behind him."
I don't really
But
think
then,
I've ever heard anything bad about Denzel.
No,
No.
because no,
Ever.
no,
Like,
you can be in there
yeah.
and do the right thing
yeah.
if
Mm.
you hold on to that. The problem is, I'm going to be realistic. It is harder. The less ability you have, the harder it is to
Hmm.
stick through and hold your ground.
Hmm.
You know that. I mean, that's just true.
One
No
of the
matter how we
ladies
want to look
from
at it.
227, so the older lady who was so comical, right? I forgot her name, so please forgive me, y'all. If you know the name
She
of
played
the
Pearl.
yes,
You
yes,
know, she
yes. Okay.
played Pearl.
So when they were talking about the strike, right? When we're going through the whole striking
Hmm.
situation with the actors and everyone was telling their stories, she talked
Mhm.
about how she was so successful because she always stayed working, whether it was in the industry or outside of the industry. She said she kept a job at the post office. She, like people, you have to, I have two, three jobs. I'm working at the university. Well, actually, I work at a couple universities, but we
Okay.
we we do what we have to do, like whether it is bussing tables, going after your dreams is serious business and it's not going to be
Yeah.
easy. So
Well, she also has a
it's a
mindset.
challenge, but it's so rewarding.
She also has a mindset of a person who was born in early 1900s. You know, she was born in like 1907 or 1908. No, I'm not saying that to
No,
make fun, but
They thought differently, I
no, it
you
makes
guess.
know,
sense.
right.
Like
Well,
the
she
grind
went
is
through,
real.
imagine she was born in like 1907. She died in 2000. She's been through every depression
Everything.
that you could go through. Um, and some people, they just don't realize that. But what
Mhm.
we also have to do is when people start telling you about what the stars are doing, we
Mhm.
can't blindly believe in that person just because they made us laugh or they were a good actor. You know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's why I loved. What was it, Sydney? Was it the Golden Globes? What was it that Ricky Gervais, the comedian, was on, and he just kept blasting them the whole episode. He made a Jeffrey Epstein joke, and they were like, he's like, what are you lying for? He's your friend. You knew what
Yeah.
he was doing."
Right. Oh yeah. I do remember. I remember exactly that.
Yeah, he's like, come up here, get your award, thank your producer, and get the hell on. You're in no position to lecture everyday people about the world.
It really is. It's
No.
an interesting thing.
That
But
Yeah.
so here's what I've been excited to do lately, y'all. And
Mhm.
I find that if we can diversify, like I look at the acting business as a pie.
Mm.
So regular acting, that's one way to go about it. But then, like, I've been in this commercial class doing some commercial training, and it has been amazing. And it
No,
seems like that's a nice slice of life that you show up, it's 1 day gig, residual income, possibly pertaining to it, possibly build up your resume and get a national contract. I felt like it's a gig. Now I know all of Hollywood is not what we are believing it to be, but I feel like there's some safer spaces where we as actors and actresses can thrive without all of that kind of drama. So
See, this is why I like being on Brilliant Swag. The guys don't use any big words, so I understand everything they're saying.
now, what big word did I just use? We're gonna
Diversify.
we're gonna have
I'm
to
not sure.
this is
Well,
presenting the
you're
show.
on
We're gonna
Pretty
be like the
Smart.
I
word of the
understood you
day.
perfectly, Camille.
Me
Just
too.
saying.
Man,
You
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
use
learn some
It for
vocabulary
me.
with this
you
show.
use too many words that had more than one syllable.
Oh gosh,
Diversify.
Diversify.
He knows what.
Sydney.
Break it apart.
Right.
Oh, he's
Anyway,
he's being silly.
But
Very.
another thing that happens in what we were talking about with Black Hollywood is we're also at a rush to judgment. We rush to judge without having all the facts, which is just a thing. But what I want to see that I don't see is like Monique was saying, accountability. Once we realized it was wrong, or once that person realized we were wrong, the accountability or the comeback and apology is never as strong as the outrage,
right.
Yeah.
right?
It's kind of brushed over. Like, oh, they did. When did they
Oh,
apologize?
sorry.
3 months ago. You missed it.
Hmm.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
there's no accountability. Accountability. Ugh,
No.
that word's not coming out. But they're not being held accountable. I can say
Right.
that for their actions, and even if
Hmm.
they're not being held accountable for the action, maybe they didn't do it. It's a matter of checking yourself. I don't think they're checking themselves.
No.
Is what the thing
Well,
is.
I mean, you can't check yourself when you're not self-aware. But one of the things they're doing now, which
Mhm.
Camille's talked about this a bunch of shows ago. Camille, contrary to belief, I remember a lot of things you say.
I
Um,
see. That's good.
distraction. When we were talking politics, distraction
Mm.
tactics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now with the Cat Williams and then the Monique interview, now you have people attacking Shannon Sharp because of allowing people to be on the show and talk about these things and how, oh, you're destroying the black community. But here's the thing, and I've been saying this for 5-6 years. They didn't do it with Vlad TV. They let Vlad do it.
Mhm.
He ain't black. They let black people sit on Vlad TV and tell everything and give
Mhm.
away secrets, and they ate it up. But when
Mhm.
now Shannon Sharp is doing it, now it's a problem.
It's a sec. It's
But
it's
it's
a market
very,
for it.
to me, the way he's going about it is tasteful. Like he's not
Mhm.
like just letting them slander you. Like he's getting to the root of the problem. From
Mhm.
what I can tell, like he's not just adding to the fuel to the fire. If you get what I'm saying,
Yeah,
like
he's well researched. He
right.
asked
That's what I'm
really
saying. Like
good,
he's
great questions,
not just throwing
and
random stuff out.
Well,
yeah.
he's both. He's kind of research, and that's why I do like him because it's not extremely researched. Because he'll be saying some stuff and be off, so that they can correct him. But he
Mhm.
sounds like your everyday person trying to interview somebody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love it when he messes up because it's authentic.
It is.
It's not a Connie Chung interview. It's not Larry King, where it's I'm just going to ask these questions and then he's reacting to the answers that they're given. And one thing that he does well
Mhm.
that I need to learn to do from him, he knows when to shut up and just let the other person talk.
Mhm. I like it as well. I like the whole vibe.
Why is Sydney laughing right now?
I like the
I'm
whole
never
vibe. I
on your
like
show. I'm
podcasts
sorry.
to
I'm
be
on
able
your
to talk.
show. I'm
That's
trying
what
to
we
get
need in
some
our
time
community.
in.
We need to be
He
able to
said,
talk.
I need to know when to shut the
Sydney.
Sorry.
Ah, it's the truth. We
It
do.
is.
There's time to listen.
That's
There's time
I'm
to
everybody.
listen.
laughing so hard.
But what is that, Dr. Camille? Why is it okay when someone doesn't look like you does it, and then when someone that looks like you does it?
Well, it's
It's
called
not okay.
it's called racism, microaggressions, duplicity. It's called all the things
Yes. All
because at the end of the day, we know that we're held to a double standard, and that's just the reality. We have to remember, you guys. yes, we are free, but we're still in the land of our colonizers. We are not in Africa. We're not in a space where we were born and raised and didn't have all these experiences. So we have a job to do, and our job is to overcome. Our job is to be resilient. Our job is to learn from each other's mistakes and be supportive, and all this. No one is perfect.
All right.
Yeah,
So.
that's very
Yeah,
true.
we are
No
not
one.
in Africa. And every time I try to go, they go, nigga, stay over there.
Yeah,
Don't
Right.
bring that. They
they'll
go,
they'll
don't bring that shit over here.
No, we need to go home.
we
So, my
do.
cousin,
They
speaking
go
of
close the border.
Hollywood, can we talk about the expansion of Black Hollywood? Because what I'm seeing right now is Black Hollywood is expanding to Ghana and Nigeria. They're building more studios over there. They're having larger shows. Like
Yeah,
Afrochella is a big thing, y'all. And I think
See,
as
well, here's
African
so
Americans, we need to be involved.
right because here's my problem with that. That's been going on for a long time. It's just we just started noticing, and
It's
Africans get very annoyed when we go, "Oh my God, this is big in Africa," and they're like, "Yeah, you don't live here. You didn't know that." And it's like,
right.
my bad.
But there's lots of tours, there's lots
Hmm.
of great efforts. I mean, from where I'm sitting on LinkedIn, if you guys are out there on LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn, Camille Valentine. I got to give the plug. But
Lord,
there's so many efforts right now on helping us be aware and helping us to come home. They're
Yeah,
opening the borders and allowing us to get visas and to travel and go see our home country. And I feel that if you've lived here in America all your life, I think that we need
we
to
should visit.
experience something new
Yeah.
and different than what we have here. So,
You have some people that are actually moving to Kenya and all those places over there. There was a lady from Durham that we knew. She actually moved to Kenya.
yeah, she had family in Kenya. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yes, she did.
the right situation, you all, I am willing
How
to
she
go.
knew to
A
go
nice
straight to Kenya?
university in
Out of
Ghana,
all the
I will
countries, how
go and
she
I
knew to
will
go to Kenya? Out of
Well,
all
she
the
serve all my
countries.
she
family out
did
there.
that ancestry test. I don't
Hmm.
know how
The
the
naming ceremony, all of it,
something. Yeah.
you just get empowerment, identity, all the things that's been stripped away from us here in America. It's
Mm.
like it may not be perfect, right? We know there's not going to be any perfect situation over there. However, we can go and share our talents, all that we've learned here in America. Our money stretches more over there. Let's build
Well,
My
that's.
money
legacy
stretches more in
outside
the
I
of
got a
here.
Philippines.
question for you.
My money stretches a lot in
Um,
the Philippines.
what would you say to someone like Raven Simone, who identifies as just American?
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well,
She
Raven
doesn't want to be
Simone
American.
also is wealthy. So her experience is a little bit different than someone who didn't grow up with wealth and they grew up from the hood. Like,
Okay, great.
so I just feel that I'm personally wanting to explore, and I can see how others coming up in Black Hollywood, 1920s, 1930s, like the first, like Harry Belafonte and Ruby Dee, and like all of our greats that laid the foundation for us. Initially, they weren't accepted here in America. So where did they go? They went to Europe. They went to
Yeah,
where I mean, they went to other places in the world
would
where they
accept
could
them. Yeah.
work.
Yeah, and then once you live somewhere, like we're not the only black people that don't live in Africa. Have you
Right.
ever been to England? Uh,
Yes.
so
Like people there. Yeah.
and once you've settled somewhere, you're like, all right, this is where I am, and this is what it's going to be. So this is what I'm
Mm.
going to do. I'm going to be mad if I do my ancestry journey and I find out I'm 72% Portuguese. But
Portuguese. You might be. You know what? You'll love Brazil. Have you been to Brazil?
I have not been to Brazil.
You would love Brazil. You're gonna fall in love with the food, first of all,
Oh, for
the
sure.
Mhm.
culture.
Oh well, I'm from Miami, so I know what Brazilian food tastes like.
Okay, well,
Mm.
great. So it's not a
Just
far
get,
stretch for you. Time to
Yeah.
mm-mm.
make that trip.
Just
Expand our
go.
horizons. That's
Bring
what
So
we
some
where
need.
are
block.
people? But so if we all go back to Africa, where are people like Sydney gonna go?
Sydney can
That's
come
what
to
I was
Africa
asking.
too. Sydney is black. I'm mad at
That's
you.
what I was asking.
Keone, you're kicked off the show for the next two times, okay?
Listen, because I know her. I know her great 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 grandfather used to tell on mine.
He is starting so much trash right now. Do you hear?
I'm not. I followed off his train. I was on board, but I'm off now.
I'm just messing with you.
I know
Um,
he is. I'm not gonna give him any pleasure out of it.
Don't
but
don't.
Good. You shouldn't.
what's a I don't want to say idol. What's a person in Hollywood that you would just it would just be like, oh, if you just heard like an onslaught of bad things you find out about them. Is there a
Angela
person
Bassett,
that would just Angela Bassett for
Surprise
you?
me. That would
because
surprise
she
you.
reminds me of my mom.
Not surprise you, because nothing really surprises. Hey,
Like,
listen,
nah, not surprised, but it would
yeah,
hurt. It would
yeah,
hurt.
but it would make you go like, no, no.
Right. Yeah, if she did something, it would hurt because she reminds me so much of my mom. Like,
Mine is Viola Davis
oh, her
Mm,
too.
because
Mm,
she's this picture of this strong black
yes,
woman to
that's
me.
my auntie.
Yeah.
You're right. Hey,
Do you
auntie.
have one, Dr. Camille? Like, who would you be like, no, not her?
I'm sorry, y'all. I really don't. I don't really have anyone in particular, but I will just, for the sake of the exercise,
Mhm.
Nia Long. Because I've always been a fan of Nia Long, and she's just been like a beautiful light in Hollywood, the girl next door, and it's unfortunate, that we don't find love and
Well,
in
there you go. That counts. I mean, that would be
yeah.
a person you wouldn't want to hear bad things about. Yeah.
No, yeah, I was sad that about her divorce and family
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I was really sad about her experiencing that. So I'll say that. Nia
What
Long.
about
That's
you, Sydney?
Mine would be I mean, I'm kind of with Camille. Like I always say, never meet your heroes. Okay,
Yeah.
most of
Gross.
the time they disappoint you, and so that I really don't have one that. But also, Viola Davis would come close. I would probably
mm,
be a little bit sad if I found out she was not a decent human being because I really
Mm.
admire her acting. Like
Oh
when
my
I
God.
know anybody
Yeah.
is going to be phenomenal with her, and the way she
Uh,
boogers up her nose on cue. Okay,
Okay,
she's amazing.
amazing.
that's
what
auntie.
was the one that I don't want to say surprised you the most? I'm going to say shocked because again, my surprise value is gone. From things that I've seen anyway. But what's the one that you're like, come on now? And I think the most famous one and the biggest example is Bill Cosby. That was the one because you just keep thinking about him as Bill Cosby,
Like a
Mm,
as,
dad
as
figure.
Mr.
Right.
Huxtable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
yeah, I was
And
watching
that
some
was the
shows
one that.
today.
Mm,
I watched some episodes before the show tonight.
Hmm. Oh, I still watch him
okay.
because I mean,
Good stuff.
Claire was always my favorite person on the show.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
love it. I love the show and what it represented, the family
Oh,
wait,
structure.
wait, wait. What
What?
episode did you watch before you came on?
It was the episode where Huxtable had the kids over and he was giving them like this little dance on his knee and they was all jerking around
Mhm.
and the thing.
look at her face.
Yeah,
Yeah, how it lit up. No, because I
yeah.
watched an episode today on
That was
YouTube.
fear, okay?
I
Not like
watched I watched the one where where she went to Baltimore to see
Mhm.
the Ratchet in Baltimore when Claire scared the crap out of me when I was a kid when I watched that episode when she was like, "Go to bed." I was like, "Oh, I went to bed." Yeah,
Yeah.
You went to
Yeah,
bed.
it was a couple.
yeah, I went to bed. That's how bad she scared me. I went to bed.
Love that
Good
family.
Yeah.
job. Good
No,
boy.
But
it's a
she's an
family we never had.
example of what we were talking about,
Mhm.
Felicia Rashad. Of sometimes it's you just don't want to like when the first stuff came out about Bill Cosby. She was like, "No way, these women are stupid," and
Mhm.
she's backtracked since then. People go, "Oh, she's backtracking." I was like, "It's not that she's backtracking. She, like everybody else, she's worked closer to him than I have
It's like no
over
way.
all those years." And she's like, "What?" Because people can live two different
They
lives,
can.
That is true.
two extremely different lives, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Sydney does it every Tuesday when we do a show. She lives two different lives.
what? No, I do not.
You ain't supposed to tell about her second life. Her wife might be around.
I'm
What
just
Well,
is?
I
saying.
will say
Mhm.
this is not related to Hollywood, but in terms of like having a shock value, there was one of my friend's son did a school project on the name of the elementary school, and he learned that the name of the elementary school was like a racist person, and so he, for a school project, sought to change the name of this school here in Fresno, California. Lo and behold, they had so much opposition. They didn't want them. They were vilified and had to go against the city, and it was horrible. But ultimately, this little under 12-year-old boy has changed the name of a public school.
Oh
And it
boy.
got me thinking about like all of the schools that are named after so many people. They're all like, for the most part, not really good human beings and did not do very good things in the world. Like their legacy is tainted and full of slaves' blood and just all sorts of things, like when you do the research on them individually. And so it makes me wonder, like what happens if we all start to look at a lot of different things, not just what's in Hollywood and the characters that are being displayed. What about like our politicians, our school officials, people who
Definitely.
we know and trust? So it goes so deep in, I don't know, what do we do about those
Yeah,
things?
it does. Airports. Well, you do what you've been doing. When somebody becomes aware and they want to make that change, they do it. The one of the problems is that life keeps lifing. We
Right.
get so enamored in our everyday life that sometimes when we take a step back, we go, "Oh yeah, wait, that's still a problem. That's
Mm-hmm.
still a problem." And especially when you're in the median to lower income,
Mm-hmm.
you're forced to work so much, you don't have that much time to pay attention to what's going on in the rest of the world. You're
Right.
trying to figure out how to pay your light bill, how you're going
Mm-hmm.
to pay your car note and put your kid
And
in
rest.
college. So
Mm-hmm.
you could, so when you see people when they're like, hey, they're trying to change the name of John Wayne Airport because he was racist against black people and Indians and all that. He's like, I'm trying to figure out how to pay my light bill. I don't give a damn what they do with that airport. And they have that attitude. And are they wrong for it? No, they're like, I've got my own shit to deal with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why, and I'm caveating to what Dr. Camille said, even if you're broke, you gotta vote.
Mm-hmm.
Say it
Yeah.
again.
So
Say it
who are you
again.
picking
Say
to
that
help
again.
to make that change? And I brought up John Wayne because it's funny. Again, never meet your heroes. When you're a kid, you don't know things unless somebody teaches it to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I loved Western because my granddad loved Westerns. And I was
Mm-hmm.
such a John Wayne fan. I was the Duke for Halloween and all that. Then I
Aw.
became a teenager, started learning about John Wayne, and I'm like, oh, oh.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dang, my childhood is gone.
Yeah. Some
Well,
things are shocking. Yeah.
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 And it's kind of
I mean,
like,
but you can't,
kid,
like you said,
right?
you can't be upset with people for being people. I mean,
Right.
everybody has their flaws, and when you find out those flaws, you just say, oh, okay, well, that's just one part they need to clean up.
Oh, but you
Um,
know what? We got that they didn't have back in the day.
What?
We got repercussions now.
that's true.
Now there's repercussions. Call me an N word in public. If you call me it now. You can get
Oh,
away with
sure.
it 30 years ago. Do it
That's
Not,
now.
not at all.
Even
Let
10
me
years ago.
let me
I'll
say
try.
some things. Well, there's still some places 10 years ago. If you live down where in the areas where I live, you could do that. But I'm on here with three ladies. Let me know how to act. Let me
Okay.
call you out your
Me
name.
too.
Ah!
Right. So there's
Yeah.
repercussions these days. These people acting a
Yeah.
fool in restaurants, Karens, whatever you want to call them. It's repercussions these days.
Can I say something about that? I have been like thinking about this for the longest time. I really feel like COVID messed people's brains up. We had to be indoors. People had to sit with themselves for almost 2 years. They went crazy, and when they got out, they didn't know how to act.
That's
I
not what it
promise you,
was.
that's what
That's
happened. I
that's not
promise.
what it was. COVID made you sit in the house and watch more YouTube videos. These people have always been around. What have we been talking about? There's always been these racist people. There's always been
Okay,
Karens. We just use our cell phones more and whip it out
that's
Yes,
and
we
true.
do.
record.
That's
I was
true.
You
going to say,
know,
listen, Linda, that stuff still exists.
it just
That's
But
made you
it
more
wasn't.
Way
aware.
before.
I
Right.
think we broke them though, because they wasn't this bold. Like they be real
So
bold.
Yeah, they were. What?
I
It
think what
depends on where
Or
you
maybe it
grew up
wasn't
and where
happening
you
to
are.
me,
that's when
because
all of
it's
that
been.
started to,
It's.
to happen. They were
this
more
was
bold when
less
Trump was in
reported.
office.
Hmm.
Well, Arlena, you were in Greenville, North Carolina. Okay. We're not acting like you
Mm,
were in the heart of New York here. Okay. I was from Miami. I've seen it.
Oh,
I've,
that's
I've
different.
seen these people. I lived in Texas. I've seen these people. I've lived
Maybe
in Missouri. I've seen these people.
I
I've
need
lived
to
in
be
8 states
careful.
in 20 different cities. I've
Come to
seen these
Florida.
people for
Plenty of Karens.
years. Huh?
Come to where?
Come to Florida. Plenty of Karens.
Oh, especially when you
Yeah,
get to Central and
yeah,
above.
Hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
but you know what? That's because they don't run into the right people. I would pay money to see a Karen run up on Dr. Camille. I give my paycheck
I'm
just to
gonna
watch.
fan myself.
I've got a Karen to say sorry before, so it's all good with me. I know how to handle them.
I
I mean,
know. I just want to
that
watch it
certain
for the
people,
entertainment value.
they know that who they can do those things
You're
to
gonna
and
kill
who
them with
they
big
are.
words.
I just gave him these eyes.
Huh?
Right.
You know what it is? It's not even the fact of being a Karen or a Kevin. It's what you're being a Karen and Kevin about.
Right.
Because your cheese was forgot on your Whopper, this is the point where you're going to have a meltdown.
I always tell people if you can afford to go out to eat, you're doing pretty well. Shut the heck up and let them remake you one. Okay? Seriously. Go away.
Go away.
I
Just,
literally would say that.
Leave me alone.
Sydney
Well,
alone.
she said, just
I
go
know
away.
that right now in this day and age,
Oh my
we're all
gosh.
just fighting for our peace, for our little slice of peace
Yes.
in the world, uninterrupted,
Mm-hmm.
unapologetic,
Mm-hmm.
authentic. I just want that slice of life where it's
But
just
you know
peaceful.
how you get that? You know how you get that?
Uh-huh.
If everybody would just mind their business.
Well, that is true. It
Mind your business.
also depends on where you are. For instance, I'm going to say this. I don't know why I'm talking about Dr. Camille so much today. Maybe I miss her.
I
You
know
miss
you guys
her.
miss
It's
me. I
okay.
miss y'all
She may
too.
notice, she might not even notice, because now it's going on what, almost 3 years that I've known you. What
What?
you got going on in life? When Dr. Camille was pursuing that doctorates and working and taking classes, until she was done, I ain't never seen her smile this much.
Oh,
Never seen this smile this much. Remember, I used
really?
to talk to you about it all the time.
You
You
did.
got to smile more. You got to smile more, because it wasn't that she was angry or mad. It's just that she had a lot. She was doing a
Yeah.
lot, and you could see, would wear it on her face. You could see it.
Hmm.
You could see the tiredness. You could see the, oh my God, this again. Like, you could see it. And now she just talks with, because you can tell that has been lifted.
Yes. Yes.
you know and
Mm.
that's what I meant about sometimes you don't really enamor yourself in certain causes, because all that you've got. I mean,
Mhm.
Oh
she's
my
getting
God.
a doctorate, taking classes, working, and had a son in college all at the same time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, and it's
I
hard to
count it all
find
joy.
that. Hmm?
Thank you. I'm always grateful for, you seeing the hard work and the support of my sisters here in this space. And that's what we're here to do, is really just be a beacon of light and hope for others who are wanting to do a thing in their lives. And somebody told them that they couldn't. Somebody that was their own kind discouraged
Right.
them. You don't have to be in Hollywood to be discouraged. You can be in your own family and get that discouragement. So it's really all about persevering and being amongst beautiful, amazing, talented, and supportive family like you guys. So Pretty Smart is a really safe space, and I always love it. And I want all of them who are out there, in the world to chime in and have these conversations. It's a space where you can just kind of like talk about day-to-day stuff and express yourself. Use your voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you.
Yes.
It's been a
That's
journey.
that's that Greenville area you're talking about, Keone. That's that area. That's my area. That's what she's talking about. Yes.
Mm.
The most race we combined schools only to split a year later.
Wow.
Changed our colors, all our history. Like, you had people that were like alumni, their parents, their
Mm,
grandparents, great grandparents were from that
right.
school. Gone.
Hmm. So then it gets me thinking about like, well, what
Oh
is the
crap!
podcast?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was
Yeah.
responding to Arlena, and I
No.
was reading the thing and didn't realize I was on mute the whole time, and I was just flapping my gums. Um, when we talk about schools, since it's Black History Month, I'll talk about this. One
Mm,
of the things that some people don't realize is every Black person, especially educators, weren't for segregation.
mm,
And one of the biggest reasons why is we would have Black people that, when they were able to go and get accepted at these prestigious institutions, or they'd go to universities, they would
mhm,
come back to the community and they were teaching.
Mhm.
And what they had in some of the black schools is they were teaching higher forms of math, for instance, than what the grade equivalent was learning in the all white school.
Mhm.
And so that was a fear. And then what happened in a lot of these segregated schools, they were purposely not being taught what they were being taught at the all black
Mhm.
school. And that's why not every black person was for segregation of schools.
Mhm.
Very true.
So that's something that people don't think about as well. Like, if you're a black person, why wouldn't you be for segregation in terms of school? And that was one big reason why some of them weren't for it.
And two, I mean, I'm not saying I'm for having separate schools by any means, but the one thing I do see is the difference in the culture. When
Mhm.
you combine them, we start to lose our culture, and
Mhm.
if they don't teach it at school, who's going to teach it? Because the parents are
Well,
Mhm.
working.
who's supposed to teach it? Is the
The
school
parents,
supposed to teach it?
the
Right.
parents are supposed to, but you can get that double dose when the parents are working like 3 jobs.
Yeah,
Look,
it's very hard. It's very, very
look,
difficult.
It's a village, is what I'm saying.
look. You
Yeah.
go to
I
school to
agree.
learn reading, writing, and arithmetic.
But they
Okay.
also teach social studies and history, and they teach what history?
Of course, we know what history they teach.
Okay, so we ain't learning,
They
not
teach Black
learning
history in February,
I
and they
think we
cut it
need
off right
more
on the 28th.
academies,
for real.
more academies, more
Shortest month.
All right,
teachers
back to
around
George
us.
Washington.
We need to teach our own history, and that we
We
just solve our own
do.
problem. Teach our own history, send our kids to
Yeah,
our own academies, take our
because
kids out
yeah,
the public schools
what do
slowly but
you
surely.
Homeschool. So
what
there
do
you
you think an Irish parent does with their Irish kids and how they learn their Irish heritage? Because they ain't learning it. When we say white, we always canvass everybody, right? But
Yes.
we ain't learning about Irish history in school.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't learning about Irish heritage in school. So what does an Irish family do?
they teach
They
them.
make sure that each one of them knows their lineage, where they're
Mm-hmm.
from, what they do, the culture. I mean, every white friend I have, if you say, "Hey, tell me about your family," they can just start rattling it off. Well, my grandfather was
You
Dutch
know
and mom
why?
was Swiss and blah blah, and they just rattle it all off. Right? All I know is everybody was black.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the reason why, and it goes back to what Dr. Camille said. It's because we don't know.
Right.
Everybody was mixed in together. They was just black.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's it.
wait, but the culture of what we have now, if you want to have, we have our own culture. That's something that you have to make sure that's being imprinted in your
Into
children.
you have to find
You
out.
can't rely on someone else to implement that.
That's
Mm-hmm.
true.
You know, think about how Muslim kids that go to public
Mm-hmm.
schools deal with the same issue.
That's
Mm-hmm.
true.
You know, they can't come home and their parents say, well, they'll take care of that at school because they know that ain't happening.
Mm-mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's why I
It's on
homeschool.
us.
We gotta
Yeah,
worry
It's
about
on
this.
us,
You know?
guys.
well, you can't really teach out of school because if you do one, you got to do it all.
Right.
Right.
It is political.
But
Schools are, I mean, public schools definitely are political. Once you start trickling down to like private schools, you can kind of get a
Mm-hmm.
little.
well, let's not forget what a public school's purpose is, right?
It's
Mm-hmm.
daycare.
No, a public school's purpose is to create the workforce.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that
It
too.
makes
Mm-hmm.
long hours for school so you don't cry when you're in the factory for
That's
12 hours.
the
Right.
purpose of school, to make
And
the
One
workforce.
day.
to bring it back to our topic, I'm sad that they are taking drama out of all the schools. So back
Exactly.
in the day, we used to at least have creative
I used to
expressions.
love drama class.
Drama and
That's the only
music.
reason I went to school.
Drama,
Drama and
music,
music.
home
Yep.
economics,
All the
Soon
art stuff
to be
that you
gone.
need, life skill stuff, gone.
life skills.
Well, I don't know
Yes.
about you guys, but in Florida, we didn't got books either. So all the books are gone. Psychology classes, you talk about a certain gender, that's gone too.
I remember my
Oh,
my sister
man.
had a history book that had my name in it. I'm like, Jesus, y'all ain't got no new books yet.
Right.
Imagine having like
No,
3
we're not allowed to
predecessors.
have books if they talk about any race.
Wait, what? Wait, those are two different things. You said
Have
any
you not
books?
seen Florida and all the craziness and all the books
Yeah,
that
I know. I
yeah,
know.
I was making a joke. Well, in Florida, we don't have books in school. We don't
So
have
what
any.
y'all read?
They
Y'all
have tablets,
read?
right? You have
It's called
tablets?
Purdue. Some
See, this
Digital.
is why Southern Florida wants to disconnect from the rest of Florida and it'll never get passed. We make all the money, but Central and North Florida gets all the high tech. cool
That's
stuff.
If I had a
good.
child, they would be homeschooled because I would teach them everything.
Oh
No.
dear God.
Okay, friend.
She's gonna have a 7-year-old doomsday prepper.
I'm
Wonderful.
telling you, I have a
No,
really good friend of
stop
mine,
it. You act like
5
I live my
kids.
life around doomsday. That is not an everyday. I'm just a prepared
Wait,
person.
wait.
Hey,
You
Everybody
said
we were
can't be.
homeschooling. It was
homeschooling?
wonderful.
Listen, everybody can't be. If I was homeschooled, do you know how much of a more of a nut job I would be?
Well,
Maybe
my
If I
not.
was
I feel
homeschooled,
like
My
you
you
just
got a
need
point
a
there.
hug.
You still
homeschooled.
get socialization.
I would
Yeah.
not. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking
What?
about I wouldn't like my teachers, which were my parent.
Oh,
Oh,
My
that's
listen, everybody like
hard.
Arlena, you homeschool. I know it. It's great. You do good.
My brother's
Camille, if
homeschooled
she
too.
had new kids,
So.
I would trust her to be homeschooled. I ain't getting homeschooled. I'll tell you right now. It ain't
That's
happening.
it. Mm-mm.
So
Well,
everybody ain't set up for that.
because they're
I
teaching crap
see.
in school now. So I would teach my kid. My kid's going to be homeschooled.
Yeah, then
Yeah,
that's fine. You do a good job. But I'm just saying, everybody ain't set up for that. You've seen some of these
that is
parents.
true.
But that's why we need to do these little
What?
charter schools. Those that are capable of doing it, we
Yeah.
get together and take the ones that, yeah.
Yes,
We'll
Arlena.
figure it out.
You got it.
It
You
takes
got
a
it.
village.
Mhm.
I just teach my
Listen,
own kids. That's
maybe in another life because I don't plan on having kids in this life, but we'll see.
love y'all.
I'm sure one day I'm going to have grandkids, and so I need to figure it out. So,
No, it's funny y'all say that, but no, my mom was a teacher, and everyone said, "Oh, you're gonna be a teacher." My grandma was a teacher. My aunt was a teacher, and I said I would never teach. Now I homeschool, but they're my
right.
kids. They're my kids. There's a
For
difference.
now.
Nah, ain't no for now. They're
Yeah.
For
my
now.
kids.
But
You're
you just
Dula.
proved my
Also,
point.
no, but also a big thing, Arlene, it's not the teacher's fault. I'm not blaming the teachers. You know what I mean?
No,
Yeah.
it's
Teachers are
never mind.
blessed. I don't know how they do what they do because they don't get paid enough for any of that.
They
Yeah.
don't.
It's
We
hard,
just had
right?
3 teachers quit in our district.
Yeah, they're
They're
quitting like
Someone
crazy.
just said,
almost walked out the door and was like, "Nah, I'm
someone
good."
just posted, Pedro, thank you. United States ranks 13th in the world when it comes to education.
Wait, 13th. I'm pretty sure we were like 49.
450? No.
No. Listen, if you
49?
cut out certain
48?
states, it goes up. Um, and it's also a state by state thing. I mean, we got to remember every year they rank all 50 states in terms of education on the college level and on the high school level. One of the things that Harold and Dave talked about on the conversation is sometimes the benefit of that community isn't received. For instance, if you have kids that grow up in a certain city or certain
Mhm,
state, like Dave said, they grew up in a certain part of New Jersey,
mhm,
everybody that goes off to college ends up bringing that education back to a different area than the
mhm.
place that they started.
That's true.
So you can
Yeah,
be in a community and it not really represent that education level because your smartest people go off and they don't come back.
that's true. Yeah,
You know,
unfortunately.
and
So that
that
means we gotta
happens.
come back. We gotta go feed back into our communities because they're dying.
Right. That's why I
Those
said we need to
communities
go
are
back to
dying.
Africa. We need to go back to
Yes.
Ghana, go back to the motherland at least to visit. Find a way to get back.
Let's go, Camille. Let's go.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's go.
Afrochella
Okay.
2024.
Let's go.
Okay.
Deal.
Hell, I'm just
All
trying
right,
to
you
get to
guys out there, you
Charlotte.
heard it.
I'm
Pretty
just
Let
smart.
trying.
us know if you want to
Trip
join
to
us.
I'm just.
Africa. Let's go.
I'm trying to afford a ticket to Atlanta. Still,
We'll do a fundraiser. Get you there.
don't mind me. You know I got to bring the
All
citizens.
right, y'all.
Take us home, ladies.
Yeah.
Remember, guys, it's okay. It's okay. The Hollywood, Black Hollywood, they'll get it together eventually. But until then, we're going to stay pretty smart and watch who we keep in our corner.
Until next time.
Oh, you would trust me with your children? Thank you, baby.
Who said they trust you with their children?
It's okay. I
I
know
would
her.
trust
We're
her
good.
too.
Lord Jesus, I wouldn't trust her with my kitten.
Yeah, you're gonna help me have my next birth if I'm able to one day.
Yes, let me know. Hit me up.
Aww.
Dula. Woo woo.
Dula.
You know what? When me
Pretty
and
smart.
Dominique have a baby, Lena, you're going to be its teacher.
Seriously, you and Darby?